And so I'm excited to share it with you. We're going to be talking about 10 ideas to beat the summer slump, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and from time to time, give me grace as new people come in. They may be unmuted, so you may hear some noise or something like that. But it's going to be chiming in and so forth and so on, all right? For those of you who can be a part of, just jump on screen and turn on your camera and be a part. I've got something new and exciting that I'm testing out today, and you'll get a chance to be a part of that. And what that is that I am actually using AI to monitor and measure the effectiveness of this meeting. And so what that means, it's going to be watching your responses, it's going to be watching your facial expressions, it's going to be watching how you engage with the content. And so at the end of the meeting, every person in the call is going to have a score. And you're going to have a score based on whether or not you ask questions, whether or not you talk, you spoke, all of those different things that's going to be there. And so I'm going to do something special for the person who has the highest score at the very end. And so for those of you who engage with us and engage with me, whether it be asking questions at the end or just being on camera and being engaged in what we're doing, I'm going to be able to keep track of that. And at the end of this, I'll tell you all what app it is so you can use it for your team meetings. And it'll help you gauge who's involved, who's not, all those kind of things and so on and so on. So I think it's going to be really, really cool. Really quick, if you're interested and you want to know what that app is and you want me to send it over to you, just give me a number one, put the number one in the chat box. And at the end, I'll come back around and I'll let you all know exactly what the app is that I'm using to monitor the engagement of the people in our Zoom call, which I know would be really helpful for some of you who do team meetings on Zoom and stuff like that. To know that your people are engaged will be helpful. So just let me know and I'll send it over to you. All right. So let's get ready to jump in. So today we're going to be talking about 10 ideas to beat the summer slump. All right. So I think the most obvious thing that we start with is this. What is the summer slump? When we talk about the summer slump, we're talking about that challenge that many churches go through, where we see this lull that happens during the summer. And the summer is one of those times that can be challenging for a lot of pastors. It's a time where we just want to step back. It's a time where we want to sometimes take a break. It's a time where we just punt and just go like, the summer's not going to be great. It's going to happen. But when we talk about the summer slump specifically, here's what we're talking about. The combination of families and individuals who are traveling more, right? Children are not in school. And so now families can take vacations together. People who work in the rhythm of education can now get away, get out, and go out and do other things. So that becomes a thing for them, right? They travel. It's a rest from routines. Summer feels like a time where people can just have a break from their normal routine of get up, get the kids ready, take them to school, go to work, do this. And so even if they still have to go to work, when most people do, they get to break out of the routine of having to get the kids ready and all that kind of stuff. So they want to do something different. And so when people, and I know I'm this way, when I break away from one routine in my life, it starts disrupting all my routines, right? And so this is a way that people do that during the summer. They break away from those routines. But then they also get the broken rhythms. And so now when those rhythms get broken, it leads to other broken rhythms. So a broken rhythm with school leads to a broken rhythm with church, leads to a broken rhythm with everything else. And so now things start to change, because even as a parent, now instead of sending your kid to school to do breakfast and lunch, and you don't have to worry about dinner, now you got to worry about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, I was on Facebook the other day, I saw this really funny post. Somebody said, man, these kids been at home for 3 days and they have already eaten me down to the seasonings. Like literally all I got left in my kitchen. And I couldn't do anything but just laugh, because it's so funny. You know, they come home and they just start grabbing. I'm eating. I'm like, what do y'all do at school all day? Like, I know they're not feeding y'all this much, right? And so that's a broken rhythm. Another thing that affects the church is staff vacations. Is that people on your team, they need to get away and go away. You know, they've been faithful and committed, many of them, for the whole year. And now they're saying, okay, we need to get out of here. We need to go away. We need some time to rest and recuperate, right? And they're trying to figure that out. And so you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. And then just transition. The summer is a time of transition. Students are figuring out the classes and schools they're going to next. Some people, this is a time where if people want to move, they start moving. This is a time of huge transition. And so here's what the summer slump usually equates to for many churches: low attendance and low giving. And that's not a great proposition if your attendance is already lower than it used to be coming through the pandemic, and your giving is already lower than it used to be coming through the pandemic. And so when we talk about beating the summer slump, we're talking about giving you 10 specific strategies to help you push back against the summer slump. And let me be clear, I'm not saying that you're going to replace every single person who's going to be traveling this summer. But I'm saying if you want to, you can get pretty close. I'm saying you can do some things that will help you move the needle in some significant ways. And some of it is going to be attendance. Some of it is going to be something different, right? But I'm going to help you do that, right? So for those of you who just logged on, if you can come on camera, I'm going to be sharing at the end of this call. I'm using a program along with Zoom to help monitor the engagement of people on the call. And so at the end of this call, I'm going to do something special for the person who is most engaged on the call. And so if you can turn on your camera and you can make sure you're responding in the chat box, that you're giving me thumbs up, amens, whatever it is, then the program, the AI is going to be monitoring your feedback. And so at the end, the person who has been most engaged, I'm going to give you a prize. All right. So please be doing that. All right. So here's what we want to do. We talk about beating the summer slump. We want to offset the summer slump with high impact connection opportunities. High impact connection opportunities. All right. And so what we're saying is that we want to take this time to really connect. All right. So you want to talk about a summer slump? Let me tell you a story. The first church I ever planted, we were in a college town. And if you've ever been in a college town, you know a college town becomes a ghost town as soon as school is over, right? And so for the summer, usually you have a band, you have and athletes are what you have on campus. And so that became our norm, is that we would have the band and athletes on campus during that summertime. And so I never forget, at one of the heights of our ministry, we went from 3 full services of people to just 75 people in less than 1 week. Like we literally went from 350 to 75 in a week. And I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all, I almost jumped off the cliff. I was like, this can't be right. Like, this can't be like, this can't be fair. Like I ain't talking about 3 services where it's just like, we just got them just to have them. I'm talking about 3 services where each service has its own worship team, it has its own band, and we're rotating people in the band. We've got volunteers for each service. We've got all of that. And then all of a sudden you go from the high of one service after another, 9, I think we were doing 9, 11, and 1. And we were just popping them out, man. I was in the rhythm, we were flowing. And then all of a sudden, school let out and everybody was gone. And it was rough. And it was in that time, though, that the Lord really started to deal with me about what the summer really could mean. Because it's different for different people. As I said, we just left Orlando, Florida this weekend. And I was with one of our partners here in Orlando. And he was talking to me about how Orlando is so transient. It's a vacation spot. And so every summer, you've got people coming into vacation, but a lot of your people are going out to vacation. They go other places to vacation, right? And so one of the things that we were talking about is how it was transient. And so all of us have a transient rhythm to our congregation, whether we realize it or not. And so here are the 10 things that you could do to really push back on that. And again, the focus is on being high impact connection opportunities. And hear me, you don't have to do all of these, but what I'm going to invite you to do is choose the ones that fit you and your rhythm and see if they can't help you take the next steps. All right. So here are 10 things that you can do. Number 1, first idea is you can host movie nights. You can host movie nights. Most churches are already set up for projection. You've got TVs, you've got projectors already in your sanctuary. So what you could do is choose a family movie, go to your local event store and rent a popcorn machine, Grab a cooler with a couple of drinks. You can put drinks, Capri Suns, waters in them. Have people, even depending on the setup of your sanctuary, if you don't have pews and you just have chairs, you can clear out the first couple of rows of chairs, have people bring their lawn chairs and blankets, whatever it is, but just have Coke and popcorn available for people to watch a family movie together. It's just a fun Friday night activity to help you reach out into the community. And I love this idea because it doesn't necessarily have to be a church idea. If you have the setup for it, you could do this outside. You can do it in your fellowship hall. You can do it in a local park. But the idea is to simply host a family movie night, because this family movie night is going to be a way for you to connect with the people in your church, but also a way for you to connect with the people who are not in your church and who haven't been to your church yet and who don't normally come to your church. You can connect with them as well. And so idea number one is to host a family movie night. And again, obviously you want to be selective in the movie that you choose. Choose a movie that fits, a movie that's good, something simple, a movie that has a strong message to it, but choose a family movie night and host a family movie night. We've done this in the past. As a matter of fact, if you wanted, you could do this 2 or 3 times over the course of the summer and build a rhythm to it. You can say every other week, every other whatever. Again, even though we're the church, take cues from secular businesses that are really thriving in the summer. Every summer, you might get an email or you might see something from your local movie theater talking about kids at the movie week. And they tell you, hey, look, come see these kids' movies every Monday for $1. Why do they do that? Because they know if we get you to come see a movie for $1, you're going to spend $30 on popcorn, drinks, and candy. Because you can't bring kids it's really hard to bring kids to the movies without them wanting popcorn, drinks, and candy, right? And so you can think the same way. If you can bring people in to come and see, visit the church, come and connect with other kids, come and build relationship, get a chance to come and see your place and your facility, come and meet you up close, you then have a chance to convert them and to turn them into people who consistently come to church, right? So that's idea number one, is host a family movie night, right? Number 2 is Vacation Bible School, right? Now this one is a little bit more robust and it takes a little bit more to pull off. But I'm telling you, VBS is making a huge comeback. And it's really making a comeback if you do it in a way that involves the whole family. So when we think about Vacation Bible School, I'm not talking about the kind where you just have classes for kids and parents drop off their kids and leave. I'm talking about the kind where you have classes for the whole family and where you think about doing it in the evenings from about, say, 6:30 to 8 p.m. People come at 6:30, from 6:30 to 7, you feed them. And then starting at 7, you run your program, right? And your program could be the first 10 minutes is a general assembly. They get 30 minutes to go to their breakout classes, 15 more minutes at the end for a general assembly, and then you send everybody home, right? But consider a Vacation Bible School. And one of the ways that we did it last year to keep it really simple, I grabbed a group of senior ladies in our church. I put them over the kitchen ministry. I said, look, I just need y'all to help me feed 100 people for 3 nights. You can pick whatever you want. You tell me what's simplest. I need y'all to help and organize it. And they came back and they said, okay, we're going to do pizza on this night. We're going to do prepackaged hot dogs and chips on this night. And then on this night, we're going to do something else they did. I can't remember. And it was super simple. And we did a VBS that helped us reach 100 people in our community and in our church. And I don't think it cost us $500. I don't think. And then the other great thing about it is that I use people in our church to be the teachers for those classes. And so I gave them a chance and an opportunity to be involved and engaged. And so I really use it as a chance to get some improbable teachers for our classes. And man, it worked absolute wonders. It was amazing. So Vacation Bible School, right? Number 3, team outings. Challenge your teams to take outings together over the course of the summer. And so what that looks like is you may say to your worship leader, hey, I need you to put together an outing for you and everybody who's in the worship department. And I need you to come back and tell me where you guys are going, when you're going, how much it's going to cost per person. Just let me know. But I want you to go and do something. And I don't want it to cost more than $20 per person because I want everybody to be able to pay for it and be able to go without issue, right? And so now you have your teams start leaning into team building by getting them offsite. You might be surprised how much of the tension in your church and in your teams is because people really don't have relationship. The only time they talk to each other and hear from each other is when it's time to serve. And so the ministry leader only talks to people when they need something from them, right? And so what that does is that creates a tension in the culture of the church that you can help push back against by simply encouraging them to do stuff together. So have them do stuff together, right? If you have a Top Golf in your city, go to Top Golf. If you have a bowling alley in your city, tell them to go to the bowling alley. But you want them to go out and do something where they can have fun, but also they got a ton of time where they can sit and talk to each other, right? And so that's why stuff like Top Golf, stuff like bowling, and any other things like that around that would work really well, all right? I know y'all got some better ideas than I have. So what are some other things like bowling or Top Golf that allow people to take action and do the activity, but allow them to talk? Just put something in the chat for me, some other thoughts, because I'm having a brain freeze on that. What are some other things that people could do like that, that could work? If it's ladies, if it's like a ladies ministry, I know something like, I've seen, my wife has taken ladies to the Botanical Garden skating. That's a really good one. Last week, Pastor Derek and Lady Jatia up in Wilmington, I saw on their Instagram page, she took the ladies in their church and they went to a soap making event where they made soaps together at the mall or something. It was really, really cool. NBA Finals party, that's really good. That's a really good one. Especially for you guys some basketball fans, that'd be a really good one. So just, again, stuff where you can pull people together. Okay, go ahead.
I thought one good thing, something real simple, but one thing I learned about men, they like, for example, what do you call it, horseshoes. A game of horseshoes, men, you would be surprised how entertaining that is to grown men and young men. And obviously with boys, it's always basketball and tag football.
That is true.
For men in the church, that's just a suggestion.
No, that's a good one. That's really, really good. Horseshoes, and what's the one where you throw the like the little sandbag into the
in the hole? Yep, that's
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that one. Cornhole. That's another one. So yep, so those are good.
And fishing.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is absolutely true. As a matter of fact, before I stepped down from the church I was just leading, a guy had volunteered his cabin for us to go and take the men out for a day to go fish on the lake. So that's another great idea.
And we have a lake. We have a fishing lake on our land.
Oh, and, y'all got some real good fishing up there.
You can do all kind of camping. You can do it all.
Y'all do. So again, all of those are great ideas. So team outings. Challenge your team to go out and do stuff together. All right. So let's keep going. Number four is amusement park. Right now, I'm gonna go a little bit old school on this. But I remember when I was a kid, our church used to take an annual church trip. I don't know if anybody else did that, but they would put us on a bus and we would go to Six Flags and we would do stuff like that. If you have something close by, take a trip together with your church, right? And here's what I would say. I would still, if you have some extra budgetary funds where you can do it and you want to take it and reward, some faithful people in your church, by all means do it. But you can do it in a way where you let them pay for it and just have the church maybe get a bus and just tell everybody, hey, look, come meet us here at the church, right? So you kind of get them stuck together with you and just tell them, hey, look, we're going to leave here at 8 a.m. and we go plan to arrive back here at 8 p.m., right? But we're going to have the bus. And maybe if you want, buy a couple of boxes of chicken and feed them on the bus for one of those meals on the way home or something like that. But just do a trip and take them out. I'm going to tell you, one of the most amazing seasons of growth in our church, many, many years ago, happened after something like this. We were in Louisiana, and I took a group of our leaders to Hot Springs, Arkansas during the summer. We all packed up in cars because we didn't do a bus at the time. We didn't have a budget for a bus. And so we just carpooled. I asked different people to drive, and we carpooled, and we went to the amusement park at Hot Springs. And man, when I tell you, it was so much fun. Like, I even strategically planned who was riding in which cars. I grouped my leaders together And as they rose together, the rapport and the relationship that we built over the course of that trip was an absolute game changer. And so have fun together. Find a way, if you have a park close by or one within a couple of hours that you can drive to, take them out to the amusement park, because I'm telling you, relationship built over the summer will change the game during the fall, right? It will change the game. And you're going to see why. I'm going to talk more about this a little bit later, but I'm going to keep going, all right? Number 5, the pastor's dinner. Pastor's dinner. All right, so this is really simple, and it's exactly what it sounds like. As a senior leader, as a pastor, plan over the course of the summer to host a different couple or a different leader or a couple different people for dinner at your home every week, right? Now, I'm telling you, this one is super simple, but it's really high impact, right? Now, again, if you're not the kind of person who likes people, or even if your spouse is not the kind of person who likes people in their house or come in their business, because I know how that can be sometimes, then that's okay. Take them to a restaurant, right? But I'm going to tell you, if you do this, it is a game changer. Taking some time to just sit down over a meal and talk to people changes the game. I didn't grow up in a culture, where, I grew up in, they'll be having just everybody up in my house. That's what I grew up in, right? That's the kind of culture I grew up in. But as I started to pastor multicultural churches, I started to discover that in different cultures, bringing people into your home it's a different thing. It's a sign of honor and relationship and deep connection. And so I started doing it. And I'm telling you, I love it. It's one of my things now. One of the ways that I show people the gift of hospitality is that I love grilling for people. And so I bring people to the house and I grill and I just hang out with them, right? And so I'm telling you, bringing people in and spending time with them, even if you just do it with your leaders, whatever it is, it's a game changer. It's a game changer, all right? So that's something to consider. That's number 5, right? Number 6, let's keep going. All right, let's get a little bit more technical. I'm going to challenge you to set up an automated giving campaign. An automated giving campaign. And here's what I mean by an automated giving campaign, is that you want to spend the next 2 months doing your absolute best to get as many people as possible in the church to set up automated giving, right? And so what I'm saying is you want to get them to set it up where their giving is either by text automated or by debit card automated, but you want to do a campaign for automated giving. Why does this help you during the summer? Because people are forgetful. As a matter of fact, is it Tareya? Is that you I was talking to? I think it was you I was talking to yesterday. She mentioned it. And she said, sometimes if I don't go to church this week, we don't have automated giving. I can't give, so I got to wait the next time I'm there, and I might forget. I might mess around and be that dipped in a little bit. I don't know. You never know, right? And so you can avoid that with this. With automated giving, people's presence can still be felt even when they are not physically there. And so you want to do your best to set up an automated giving campaign. Here's another thing that I'll give you in addition to that. Another thing to do around this is to also get into a rhythm of sending out text reminders over the summer. So all this summer, you want to send out text reminders about the major things in the church, particularly giving and your online worship, right? And so here's what I mean by that, is that what you want to do is that every week you want to say, hey man, we're so grateful for what God has done, what God is doing in our church. You want to continue to be a part of what God is doing, click here to give now, right? And so that way you're not being invasive, you're not being demanding, but you're sending out these reminders for people to do it. And when they click that button, it should open up directly into a giving page that they can give, right? It's just that gentle reminder that, hey, look, go have fun with your family. Hey, go on vacation, go to Disney World, go to Six Flags, go do all the stuff that's fun, but don't forget that the kingdom work is still continuing while you're away, right? And so just kick off like this automated giving campaign. Doesn't have to be anything complicated, but just every week you need to be talking to people about automated giving. If you have somebody on your team who's tech savvy, then you can have them actually working on recording some kind of video walkthrough or screenshots showing people how to set it up and how to set up their online giving so that they know how to do it, all right? Super simple, but a game changer, all right? Automated giving. And again, if you have questions, take a note of the questions. You can put them in the chat, and then I'll come back around and we can dive into some of these if you want more information about either one of them, right? Number 7 is training camp, right? And this is more of a mindset shift. I want you to take the mindset that the summer is training camp. I'll never forget Ramon Harper. He was the first African-American consultant I ever met. And he was my mentor for many years until he passed away a couple years ago. He helped Darius Daniels plant and build Kingdom Church up in New Jersey. He worked with Pastor Tim Sloan at the Luke Church down in Houston for many years. And he was actually the mentor who taught me how to organize temple systems. And he actually gave me a walkthrough the last time I saw him alive. And one of the things he said to me, because he knew I was a football player, he said, listen, lean into what you know. He said, what do y'all do every summer? He says, what do y'all do? I said, we do training camp. He says, why do y'all do training camp? I said, I think training camp exists for a couple of reasons. I said, number one, it exists to help us build chemistry, because the players need to know each other. It's not enough to just do your job. You need to know who you're working with as a receiver. I need to know the quarterback. The quarterback needs to know his players, his receivers, stuff like that. I said, but also it's to get our competence level higher. Just a playbook, install, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, why can't you do the same thing as a pastor during the summer? And so at that point, for me, the summers became about training camp. And so here's a thought for you. Plan a mini retreat for the summer, for your leaders, for your volunteer leaders, for your staff, a mini retreat. And when I say mini retreat, it can be in town. You can just go to an offsite facility. You can rent out the conference room in a hotel for a night. You could do something like that, but do some kind of mini retreat. If you want to go offsite, you can do that. Look and see if you have a Christian camp that is local or something like that is local to your church. And if you have that, you can go there. Sometimes they'll invite you in for a discounted rate. As a side note, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are many retreat centers that offer pastors one free weekend a year. If you just need to get away and you need to go away for a weekend or something like that, they'll offer you a 3-day weekend for free. And even Catholic or almost like monasteries type centers that are in your area, these centers for retreat, they'll also offer Christian pastors a free weekend to get away. But with training camp, I'm inviting you to see the summer as a time where you can really train the people that you have, like train the people who were there. You know, oddly enough, when I first started pastoring, and I was pastoring in that college town, whoever committed to stay around for the summer, I committed to invest in them. And so I would literally train them. They would come to our apartment and I would feed them at night. I would hang out with them, play Uno with them, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I would train them. And by the time the summer came up, the fall came around, man, I had a group of soldiers out there. And it was a game changer. And so treat the summer like training camp. Could you do a mini retreat over the weekend that helps you to really take a step forward with the people that you're developing and reaching in your church? All right. So number 7, training camp. All right. Number 8, do an invite blitz. An invite blitz. All right. Another thing that you could do for the summer is to set aside some time to really go hard at inviting people in. All right. For those of you who are already part of the boot camp, you probably already went through this module and you saw the whole training on the science of inviting. But the bottom line is this: for every person you want to see attend the church, you need to invite 100. And so literally set a plan to go out and just invite people to church en masse, to just invite them. Now, it is helpful to have something unique happening during this time so when you're inviting people, it's something good. And you could maybe partner this with a movie night, right? You can say, okay, look, we're gonna plan movie night for 4th of July weekend. And now we're gonna spend the next 30 days inviting as many people as possible. We're gonna try to pass out 2,000 invites to this movie night to see if we can't get 20 new people to show up, right? And so you just go out there and you just invite, but plan a time to do a blitz where you intentionally, along with your congregation, along with your leaders, invite as many people as possible to come in and be a part of something that you have going on in your church. One of the biggest things that I believe is holding back a ton of churches is that you are doing great ministry, you are doing the kingdom work, and nobody knows about it. Not enough people even know that you are there, and they don't know that your church exists. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how big your church is. There are a bunch of people who don't know you exist. There are a bunch of people who just don't know. And so one of the things that you need to do is commit some time to making sure that you're inviting as many people as possible to come be a part of what God is doing through the church, right? That's number 8. Number 9, here's another one that is a difference maker and a game changer. Send some kids to camp. We started doing this a couple years ago. I even have a daughter who for the past couple of years, she served last year as a camp counselor at a Christian camp that we're connected with. And I'm here to tell you, it is a game changer for the young people in your church to go to a Christian camp. I think sometimes we forget that our kids live surrounded in this secular world, man, and surrounded by secular thoughts and secular ideas. And even a week at a Christian camp immerses them in a culture that is much closer to the biblical culture. And so if you have young people in your church, sending them to a Christian camp is an amazing opportunity and amazing idea. Again, even as a pastor, when I pastored college students, we would send some of those kids, when kids across America would come and they would recruit on our campus, we would send kids, and when they came back, hands down, they were always the best leaders I ever had. Because at that camp, they don't get babysat. They have to run everything, they have to lead, they have to learn how to do all of that stuff. So if there is a Christian camp in your area, or if it's not in your area, you have to send them off a little bit. I'm telling you, it is well worth it to send them away and to have them go out there and to get the experience of being a part of a Christian camp. So I encourage you to do that. That's number 9. And then number 10, this is a really good one, is put together a 6-month strategic plan. You should set a goal to come out of the summer with a crystal clear strategic plan for the new year. I'm gonna say it again. You should set a goal to come out of the summer with a crystal clear strategic plan for the new year, right? And so in order to not just leave you stuck right there, I'm gonna show you what I mean when I talk about a crystal clear strategic plan for the new year, all right? I'm gonna pull up a copy of the strategic plan that I would put together and that we build every year at our retreat when we go away with the pastors who are in and a part of our program, all right? So let me share this. I'm gonna start a new share. All right, here you go. All right, so here's a view of what our 1-year strategic plan looks like. Can y'all see that? Everybody see that? Yes. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Yes. All right. So in this strategic plan, the way we put together our strategic plan is that we talk about 5 areas: people, processes, projects, preaching, and provision. We think that if you would focus on those 5 areas, you can put together an airtight strategic plan that will really help you move the needle in your church, right? So when we talk about these 5 areas, let's walk through a little bit about what it looks like. All right, we put a letter to the church in there. Let's go. Listen here, this is just an overview where I talk about specific focus areas that we want to look at as a team, as a staff. But as we keep going, we talk about people, we're asking, who do you want to reach? All right, so for example, for us, we wanted to reach men, millennials, and families. And so for each of those areas, we detail it out. Here's our strategic plan to reach men. Here's our strategic plan to reach millennials. Here's our strategic plan to reach young families, right? And we include a scripture, objective, and goals for each one, right? And so when you think about who you want to reach, you need to be as detailed as possible in talking about the people you want to reach. Because I can guarantee you this, if your goal and your strategic plan is to reach everybody, you're not specifically talking to anybody. And so what ends up happening is you catch nobody because you're trying to reach everybody. And so be specific in who you're going after. And that doesn't mean you're rejecting a group of people. It's simply saying that here's who we're focusing on right now, right? We are open to anybody who comes, but here's who we're focusing on, all right? Gatorade wants to reach athletes, but if you go to the store and you want to buy a Gatorade, nobody's going to stop you from buying it. So I'm sure there's a ton of non-athletes that love drinking Gatorade because they like the taste, they like the flavor, they're going to drink it. But their marketing is specifically to athletes, right? And so the same should be for the church. As you begin to work through your plan, you need to be specific about who you're trying to reach at specific times, all right? So when you talk about processes, what you're saying is, what are the things that we need to clean up within our culture to help us be better, right? What are the things we need to clean up, all right? Is it how we bring people in our assimilation strategy? Is it our small group strategy? Is it our leadership development strategy? We need something for that. Whatever it is, that's what we're talking about when we talk about that part. Also projects, like what do we want to do this year, right? What are the events that we're going to do in order to help us reach the people we're trying to reach, right? If you're looking in the chat, Apostle Brown just gave you a ton of great ideas. Man, he talked about a NBA Finals party, a cookout, Super Bowl party, all those kind of things are things we can do, especially if you want to reach men. And so with projects, we're saying, okay, who are we going after and how are we going to get there and how are we going to make it happen? And then with preaching, we're talking about how are you preaching? If you want to reach somebody, how are you preaching into the people you're trying to reach and connect with, right? And so what's your plan? What series are you going to be doing for the end of the year, right? You know, I tend to build series for the whole year, but what series are you going to be building and going to be doing for the end of the year? And one of the reasons that it's so valuable for you to plan your series for the year is because it gives your team an opportunity to get as excited and prepared as you're going to be. One of the mistakes that so many pastors, I believe, makes is that you get stirred up and fired up about what you're going to preach, but you don't give your teams enough to get stirred up and fired up about it. You need to give your graphic designer time to get stirred up and fired up about the series you're going to do on prayer. Let them start dreaming and envisioning and imagining what they could do to support the series from a graphic standpoint. Let the worship team start getting excited about, okay, how do we sing people towards prayer? How do we sing and worship into the heart that comes along with prayer? How do we do that? Your children's ministry leader, your volunteer leader, you need to give them an opportunity to start getting excited about it too. And so when you plan your worship, when you plan your services rather, or your sermons, you give them a chance to do that, all right? And so for those of you who are already part of the boot camp, you have access to this exact blueprint. So if you would like it, just let me know. Should already be in your library, but you can go and you can actually grab this template and you can actually walk through it and you can edit that template to make it your own for those of you who are already in the boot camp, all right? But the point is help them get excited. And then the last P is provision. Like, what are we going to do this next 6 months to help us take some next steps and develop people financially, right? Like if these are the 5 types of givers in the church, how do we intentionally move people into the next step, all right? And so my challenge to you is just that, is to put together your strategic plan to help you have a blueprint for how you're gonna move from where you are to where you're gonna go, all right? So real quick, let me review. I'm gonna review for us our 10 quick ideas for how we can do this and how we can go forward. And while I'm getting ready to do that, I want you to go ahead and let me know which of the 10 ideas you're most excited about and which one gets you most excited, all right? Number 1 was hosting a movie night. Number 2 is VBS. Number 3, have your teams build relationship through team outings. Number 4, take your church and your group to an amusement park. Number 5, host a pastor's dinner. Invite people over to come and spend some time with you. Number 6, set up run an automated giving campaign so this people's giving is present even when they are not. Number 7 is to do treat the summer like training camp, do a mini retreat with your leaders, get them excited on the same page about what's coming up in the fall. Number 8, do an invite blitz. Number 9, send some kids to camp. And then number 10, do a 6-month strategic plan, right? For those of you who are who are part of the boot camp, one of the things I'm super excited about is that for those of you who want to participate, we are going to be doing I showed you all, I think, the series Game Changers for the fall launch in September. And so for those of you who want to participate, we're going to be doing that series together, which means that I am going to put together a layout for the series. I'm going to build out graphics. I'm going to build out social media content. And we're even going to have a special Zoom call just for those of you who want to do the series, where we're actually going to plan the preaching together. And so I'm going to help you plan the preaching. I'm going to help you plan out that series. I'm going to help you really make that series huge. And we're going to do a huge fall launch all together, right? And so we're going to do that. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. All right. So let's see. Everybody drop into the chat 1 through 10. Which one was most impactful for you? I see a lot of number 7s. Everybody like number 7, the training camp. That's good. Number 9, sending the kids to camp. Number 10, which is a strategic plan. That's good. Who else? What else do we have? Which ones are most?
I'm number 7 and 10.
7 and 10 for Pastor Ricardo. Okay, number 7 and 10. All right, those are good ones. What else? So Pastor Samuel said we have a hybrid model. How would we do team outings? That's a good question. Let's see if we can't think that together. How could you do it tell me what you mean first, Pastor Samuel, when you say you have a hybrid model? What do you mean by that?
Hey, everybody. So currently I have, for example, my head of my prayer team, the head of my intercession is in North Carolina, and one of my elders actually is in Phoenix.
Okay.
The Phoenix, the pastor in Phoenix is over our online campus. So she has some folks with whom she works. And the prayer team leader had to relocate to North Carolina. So a lot of our folks are here in New York. However, as the team leads, I know that they would want to be part of the outing. I love the idea of the outing, but I just, this is part of the post-COVID era. I just want to hear what you all think as it pertains to putting together a hybrid outing. I don't know, or some type of team building exercise.
No, that's a great question. One of the things that I would say right off top is, of course, you could always explore a virtual option. So you can literally look at something that you could do online in the online space. I was a part of a meeting before where we literally played games online via Zoom. So that was one of the things that we did. If you have more than one person in the area as a cluster, you can have them to do some stuff. I think somebody just said that in the chat, that if you've got more than one person in the area and they're close, they could get together and do something. That's a great idea. Anybody else have any other ideas about that? Taria, go ahead.
I think using Zoom would be a good way to get everybody together. You could perhaps send a kit, like you suggested earlier, maybe a candle making kit where everybody gets online and decorates their candles or make their candles, and you can have someone leading it, going step by step. And it could be anything. You can do soap, you can do candles, but it's a way for everybody to have a project that they're doing at the same time, but not necessarily in the same space.
That's really good.
That's
really good. What if you could do like an online paint and sip type thing?
Exactly.
That's what I was getting ready. That's what I was getting ready to say. So the women just did a women's tea. So they call this paint and spill the tea. And one of our folks actually designed the paint, the painting. If we can do something similar and send the kit, that will work.
That's a great idea. Pastor Rush, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The great idea, and along with Pastor Taria, I think, or Taria, I see her on there. That was a great idea for the Zoom thing. We had our women's ministry actually did something similar to that. And one of the things that they did, I thought was very creative, is they used Uber Eats and actually had food delivered to wherever they were, wherever people was. They had Uber Eats delivery, so everybody could just sort of they actually had a virtual like lunch together. So everybody was sort of eating together at the same time and had whatever activities they had in conjunction with that as well.
That's good. I love that. That's awesome. Great ideas. Great ideas. I see somebody else said number one was their favorite. Yeah, number one is good because it's really simple, low impact. Somebody said number four, the amusement park. That's another good. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. All right. Anybody have a question that I can answer? Anybody need some more clarity on one of the ideas you're trying to think through, and you're trying to figure out how to really get the most out of one of those ideas? Anybody have a question for me?
I have a question, but I don't know if it was a part of the idea. I think you made mention of like a series, a sermon
Yes.
series for one of the months. I was in and out of service where I am, so I didn't fully get I didn't get all of the information that you were saying about that.
Yeah, I'll show you here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up the graphic here. But what we're gonna do is that we're going to do a series together. And so we had talked a few weeks ago about the fall launch and how the launch is like a New Year's Day, right? And so what we're going to do is that I'm going to build a series, well, it's already built, series called Game Changers. And for this series called Game Changers, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to build everything you need to make that series like a blowout, like to just literally blow the series out of the water. And the series is called Game Changers, and it's basically about people who took amazing steps of faith and literally became game changers because they were willing to step outside of the box and do something different. And so the series is really going to be about telling the stories of people in your congregation alongside the stories of biblical heroes. And so the thing that's going to be exciting about this one is, again, I'm going to build the series for you, and then we're going to do it together. All right. So here, I'm going to put it on screen and I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. But what I was saying about the preaching is that what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a session where we get together and actually plan the sermons themselves. So this is what the series is going to be, right? So I've already got the graphic. It's built around sports a little bit. So it's kind of a football thing. It's really going to be strong to kind of help reach men and stuff like that. But that's what the series is going to be. And then we're going to break it down, write the sermons together, put together the graphics, plan social media, plan evangelism together, all that kind of stuff like that. So it's going to be super dope. All right. Anybody else got a question for me? What else? Come on, keep it rolling.
Is it a specific date in September that you're going to do that?
We're going to set the date together. We haven't set the launch date together, but ideally, you always want the fall launch to start the week after kids go back to school. So my guess is that it'll either be the first or second Sunday in September when we start. Yeah, that'll be the target start. All right, great question. Great question.
I have a question about the automated giving piece that you mentioned. Now, automated giving, there's also recurring giving. So were you using those two synonymously or not necessarily? And if not, then how could the recurring giving also be maybe a part of that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, they are. I am using them synonymously. So you could kind of phrase it either way. But yes, the idea is you want them to get set up to where their giving is automatic, so that you're not looking or waiting for people to give. You're not waiting on, whether or not people are here or not for their giving to be determined. That's the general idea. And so however you can, whatever language works in there for the congregation, I say go for it. But the idea is just to make sure that their giving is happening, whether they're there or not. That's the big piece. And so if you could do that, that's the gist of what that number was. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Good deal. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it to where, and again, most giving platforms have it there. You just have to know how to set it up, honestly. And even there are some ways where you can, depending on which giving platform you have, there are some ways that you can really customize your platform so that it really almost does it for you automatically. So, what I would say is, for those of you who are in the boot camp, if you have a giving platform that you're already using and you want to see how well it automates, just use your scheduling link to schedule a call for sometime next week. And then I'll help you set it up. I'll walk you through it, and I'll kind of walk you through as much as I can, kind of bringing your unique software on board with making sure it can take those next steps. All right. So great question, though. Great question. All right. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, well, just a comment. In our congregation, we have a large amount of elderly people who either give via checks or cash on a weekly basis. They're not necessarily technology savvy, so they're not going to use the apps and stuff. But what you could do is you can perhaps look at your records and see most of them usually are on a set income and they give the same amounts. So you can ask those people, hey, would you like us to set this up as a recurring gift? That way you don't have to write a check out every week, or you don't have to fill out this envelope every week. We can take it directly from your bank account. And if you explain to them the process, some may be willing, but then again, there's always the old fashioned who just like writing checks every week. But again, that's an option for you to share with your congregation so that if they're not there on a particular Sunday visiting family or whatever, they know that their offering will still get to church.
That is really, really good. That is a really good idea, because you can do that. Typically, especially even if you use something like QuickBooks or something like that, you are absolutely right. You can take a check and help people set up recurring giving. So that's an amazing idea, y'all. That's a really, really good idea, especially if you have an older congregation. That's really, really awesome.
Just to piggyback just a little bit off of that, we actually did exactly what she described, but took it a step further, and we recreated a tech training day to where we had some of our seniors that came out. Like, we were doing Zoom a lot, especially during the pandemic, and then right after that as well. But we were doing a lot of things on Zoom, and some of them were really sort of apprehensive, and we started to automate a lot of things, and we just had a tech training day. So we had 2 or 3 people from our team just available, and we just did one-on-one, hands-on with some of our elderly members of our congregation, and that was absolutely priceless. They were able to manage and navigate our church app and order merchandise and t-shirts and things that they wanted. They were actually able to do that from their devices, and we actually walked them through that, and that was a huge success.
That's a good idea. I love that. And for those of you who are new and who don't know, this call that you're currently on, we do this every Thursday at the same time. It's typically our coaching call. Today was what we call an open house. Periodically, from time to time, we'll open it up maybe about once or twice every 3 months for other pastors to just get a peek inside at what we do. And this is what we do, is that we walk through a specific topic, but then we problem solve together and we help each other go. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm excited. Taria is new, and she's a part of a church down South Louisiana, but living in Houston. But man, she is a bright leader, as y'all can already hear from some of the ideas that she has given. So I'm excited to have her and their church here in the boot camp as well. And then we've got a couple of other new ones who have been in and out as well. But if you're on here and you're on the call and you're not a part of the boot camp, then I want to make an invitation to you, and I will give you an opportunity to be a part of the boot camp. And so if you would like us to help you, this is what we do. And so for those of you who are already in the boot camp and you want to work with these 10 ideas and you're finding something that works for you, then we're here to help you work through them. We're here to help you install them. We're here to help you make it happen. But we give you the systems to support it. So we're going to give you all the things behind the scenes that also help support what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build. And so if that's you and you're interested, you would like to be a part of the boot camp, you either got an email or a text message today that invited you to be a part of the program. And so all you need to do is just reply to that text message, reply to that email, and say, hey, I want more info about the boot camp. and then myself or Joanna will reach out to you, and we'll schedule a call so we can talk and see if we're a good fit, and we'll share with you how to get plugged into the boot camp. But I do believe that what we do is here to be a gift to the body of Christ and to really, really help you. All right. So anybody else have any questions about what we talked about today? Any other thoughts, ideas I can help you with as we work through those 10 things before we get ready to close out, and before I tell y'all who was most engaged today on the call and give you a prize, right? Any other questions? All right, that means we did a good job. All right, so today, and for those of you who got on late, I asked everybody to turn on their cameras and to respond in the chat and stuff like that. I'm using an AI program along with Zoom that helps to monitor engagement during the Zoom call. And so I can see everybody on my screen has a score. I can see how well people have been engaged. I can see all of that stuff right here on my screen. It's really, really cool. It's a really, really neat app. For those of you who are curious about what it is, the app is called, let me see, what is the name of it? I have it open, but I don't see the name. AI Meeting Recaps is what it's called. AI Meeting Recaps. And it's built into Zoom, but it's really, really cool. And what it does is that it records the call for you. It sends you notes from the meeting that you had to show you exactly what you talked about. As a matter of fact, I got an email. Let me show y'all this. I thought this was pretty hilarious. I just did a call with a pastor about an hour or so ago. Matter of fact, Pastor Poteet, he's on here. So Pastor Poteet, we just met, and I got this email shortly after our call, and it almost freaked me out a little bit. It said, where is it? Okay, here it is. It says, Henry, no, go down. It says, Pastor Poteet is in a Midwest city in Oklahoma, Free Methodist Church. He had been there for 7 months, and the church had grown from blank to blank. He wanted to add staff and focus on this and this. Like, it literally gave me a summary of our whole meeting. Like, it's like crazy. It was really cool though, because it's really good for meetings. Now it's basically like you got somebody automatically taking minutes for you to help you kind of understand exactly what you talked about. So it's really, really cool. All right. So looking at the read scores, our most engaged person, there is no surprise. It is a tie between Pastor Rush and Taria. So the two of you have tied, and the two of you are there together. And so here's what I need from you. I need you to put the name of your favorite coffee place in the chat, and I am going to send you a gift card to get a cup of coffee on me. So put it in the chat, and please don't tell me, no, you don't have to do that. Do not rob me of my opportunity to be a blessing to you, Pastor Rush and Pastor Taria. So please put that in the chat, the name of your favorite coffee place. Thank you, Helena, for being on with us. Glad you could be here. So give me the name of your favorite coffee places, and I am going to send you access Starbucks. Look at them. Look, you mean the place where I'm sitting right now?
Excuse me.
You
Can I
already
ask you,
know.
what was the app now? What was the app again?
It is called, let me make sure that's the right
AI.
name for it. Yeah, I want to say it's AI Meetings. Yes, it's called Meetings, Meeting Recaps, Transcripts, and Recording from Read. READ is the company, is the name of it, Read. But it shows up as Meeting Recaps, Transcripts, and Recording from Read is what it shows up as. Read.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So Starbucks and Starbucks. All right, so I'm gonna text both of y'all. I'm gonna send it to you via text once I get back on the road here. So y'all can have a cup of Starbucks on me either tomorrow, or if you're crazy like me, later on tonight, you can have Starbucks on me, and you can go out at your time, all right? Listen, I hope this was a blessing to you. Yes, go ahead, Pastor Sammy.
One quick question. Is this app one of the apps that now appear on Zoom when you log in?
Yes, it does. It is.
It is. Okay.
It
Okay.
is.
Thank you.
Yep, it
So
sure
I'll
is.
check it out. Appreciate
Yep, it's pretty cool. I started playing around with them because sometimes we just kind of ignore those things. But I started playing around with different ones and just looking into them. And I found a couple that I really like. And I came across this one maybe 2 days ago. And I said, let me try it. And I was on an onboarding call with the team. Matter of fact, with Taria's team. And I tried it and it was amazing. Like it puts everybody in a little box. It shows me who's speaking. It shows me their level of engagement. It shows me how many minutes each person has spent speaking and talking, like all of that stuff. It shows me, it gives every meeting a score to keep everything balanced, to make sure, so I can look and go, okay, this person hasn't said anything at all. And I can go to them and say, hey, Pastor Such and Such, what do you think? Right? It is really, really great for that. So really, really cool app. All right. What I'm going to do is, I think it has a paid option because I think when I signed up for it, it said you're getting the free trial, a 14-day trial. So I think there's a free option. I don't know what the difference is between the free and the paid though. So I may, I'll try and find that out at some point, but I don't know what it is right now. Yeah, so I'm not sure. It looks like it has a paid plan that might be something like, let me see, $10 a month. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, check it out, play around with it. I think it's something cool to play around with. So what I'm gonna do is, for those of you who are here on the call and who came in late, I am going to make this recording available. It will be a while because, as I said, I'm traveling. And it's going to take a while for it to process because it's a bit lengthy video. But maybe no later than tomorrow, I will have this available. And then I'll send it out to you where you can actually go and watch it. And you can actually go and plug in and you can come and check it out. All right. Listen, thank y'all for hanging out with us. I hope this was a blessing to you. We're here to serve the church. And so if you want to know more about the boot camp and how we've been helping many of our other partners on here plug into our program, all you got to do is respond to that text message and email, take that initiative and just say, hey, look, I want to know more, or hey, I want to be a part of this. Let me know and we'll have a conversation and we'll walk you through the process of seeing if you're a great fit for our program, because we don't say yes to everybody. We want to work with people that we would enjoy working with and people who would enjoy working with us. And so if you think that's you, then just let us know and we'll have a conversation and we'll talk about what it can look like to be a part of the Church Systems Boot Camp, right? So in the meantime, I hope that you continue to do amazing things and that you take some of these ideas and go and beat the summer slump, all right? Until next time, keep the gears turning. God bless, and I will talk to you soon.